We're going to give you our top 5 NFL Week 10 bets right now. All right, welcome into Grandstand Betters, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in for our Week 10 NFL top 5 bets. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to get our notifications for all our free plays. But without further ado, let's jump straight in to NFL Week number 10. And first on our docket is the Cleveland Browns, our hometown heroes of Cleveland, taking on the Houston Texans. Now, the Cleveland Browns are coming off a bye week. They should be rested. They're getting some players back. Chubb is coming back. Austin Hooper is coming back. Now, of course, everyone knows that Odell Beckham is going to be out. Look for Landry to get a little more targets from Baker Mayfield. And on the flip side, the Texans are a little beat up too. David Johnson is out with concussion that he got last week against the Jags. Now, Houston did win last week 27-25 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were up pretty big in the game. It was kind of Jake Lutton's fourth quarter air attack that brought him back. They did make it a game with a chance for a 2-point conversion, I think, to tie that game up. The Texans walk away with that, 2-6 now on the season, but they did survive that. Now, the Browns are going to be rested coming off that bye week, and even though Baker Mayfield's been a little Jekyll and Hyde over the course of the season, we'd like Baker to bounce back here. Baker does look like he is ready for the next step. As much as I badmouth this guy, he has an enormous amount of targets. With Kareem Hunt and Chubb now back in the backfield, he's going to be able to utilize that play-action pass, and Houston does give up a lot of passing yards. So we're going to take the Cleveland Browns minus 3.5. Baker bounces back, and look for the Cleveland Browns to be winners and move to 6-3 on the year. All right, our number 4 play of NFL Week number 10 is between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants in that great NFC East. Philly is also coming off a bye week, and the Giants are coming off a win 23-20 against the Washington football team. Some injuries that are notable. For the Giants, you have Golden Tate, who is questionable. He may play, but let's be honest, he's not really getting a lot of looks from Daniel Jones. Not anybody who's a receiver on the Giants is getting a lot of looks from Daniel Jones for 2 reasons. Number 1, doesn't have a lot of time to pass. He has to scramble a lot. He does score touchdowns with his feet, though, so we should be careful of that. He had an 80-yard touchdown the last time these two teams played, which, by the way, the Eagles won that game. Carson Wentz had a great comeback in the game, even though he shouldn't have had to come back in the game at all. But he did have a 12-point comeback in the last quarter. And the Eagles won last time. I think it was 22-21. Now, the Eagles are getting healthier coming off that bye week. Miles Sanders is back. He is a huge addition to that team. That's going to open up Carson Wentz to do a little play action, throw it a little bit more. He has great wide receivers with Fulham, who started the season on the practice squad, and he's really come on lately in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Last time Sanders didn't play, and they still won the game. And the Giants are 29th ranked in passing completion percentage in the NFL. So we like Wentz to actually get off to a great start and finish this game strong. Daniel Jones, like we mentioned, he's good on his feet. He can scramble, but he's not very good with anything else that has to do with football. So he's usually good for 1 or 2 interceptions. Look for the same to happen this week against the Eagles, and we're going to take the Eagles minus 3. All right, moving into our 3rd best pick of the week is going to be between 2 rookies, Justin Herbert and Tua. That's Miami and the Chargers. Miami is coming off a great win against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to downgrade that win just a little bit for a bad call at the end that could have allowed the Cardinals to probably win that game, as well as, let's be honest, the Cardinals have had some defensive injuries that have allowed teams to take advantage of their own passing game and score a lot of points on the Cardinals lately. But on the flip side, let's look at the Chargers. Justin Herbert, Offensive Player of the Week this year. the last two games, you would think they would have won. I mean, Justin Herbert's played awesome. Last week, they ended up losing 31-26 to Oakland on a called touchdown back with 1 second to go. They went to, as the soccer fans call VAR, or replay for us American football fans, and they looked at it, and it didn't count. It didn't stand. They should have won that game. We're actually, at Grandstand Bettors, very happy it didn't. We had Oakland winning that game, so it did work to our advantage. But Justin Herbert's playing unreal. He's got a great connection with Keenan Allen. It's working very well. Little injury here. Jackson, the running back, is out, and Bosa's going to be out. So we are concerned with that. On the flip side, Miami, Tua, Breida is going to be out, and then there are a couple defensive players that are dealing with COVID. We don't know what that is right now as of taping this today. Tua, he didn't have a great first game with 4.2 average yards passing against the Cardinals. He did look a little bit better. But when it comes down to these two teams, we're going to look at the defensive side of the ball, and really, we think the Chargers have a better defensive side. Kyler Murray just ran over Miami. It didn't end up. They didn't end up winning the game, but they should have. And I like the Chargers to score 30-plus points here and pull out a victory. Ironically, we're getting them +1, so we're going to take that number, and I actually see it trending a little up. So if you wait a little towards game day, you might get it maybe 1.5 or 2, but who knows? Maybe people watch and they start getting on that +1, and it moves to a pick'em by game time. So third best pick of the week, that is the Chargers +1. Now, our top 2 plays. Number 2, Seahawks and Rams. This is going to be a great game. The Seahawks are coming off an awful loss up in Buffalo. 34-44 they lost, moving them to 6-2 on the season. There are some question marks with their running game. You have Carlos Hyde, Chris Carson, still questionable. It seems like their entire running backfield has been questionable now for about 3 weeks. The Rams, on the other hand, they're coming off a bye week. They're rested. They look good. Russell Wilson last week did not look good. He had about 390 yards passing in a 10-point loss. That's unreal. And he threw 2 TDs, but he fumbled twice, and he threw 2 interceptions as well. He's got great targets. He's got Metcalf, he's got Lockett, and whatever running back comes out of the backfield, whether that be Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, or Homer, those guys, they can do well. All right, I'm not worried about Seahawks offense in this matchup. I'm worried about their defense. Josh Allen and the Bills just took care of their defense last week. The Rams, now, their defense is actually pretty decent, but I'm not sold on Jared Goff. He looked awful against the Dolphins. The Dolphins' defense held them to, I think, 16 points. Now, in that matchup, he did throw for 350 yards, but he had 2 INTs and 2 fumbles. So really what this matchup comes down to, because Goff has good wide receivers as well. He's got Kupp and Woods, and he's got a great new running back in Henderson. So these teams are fairly evenly matched. It's going to come down to the intangibles. Who can do well on special teams? Who can get the turnovers they need at the right moment? And when it comes down to that, the Seahawks experience is just who they are, and their coaching with Pete Carroll is just too much for us. We're going to take the Seahawks +2 here. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game with not much defense. But I like the Seahawks to take this one +2, maybe outright. We'll see. But take 2 on the point spread. And that brings us to our number 1 pick of the week. And it's in Sunday Night Football. The Ravens last week held off the Colts, even though they really did try to cough up the ball enough to keep letting the Colts get chances to come back in that game. Luckily, they were playing against Phillip Rivers, and he had nothing in the tank for that game. They won 24-10. A couple injuries that the Ravens do have. Mark Ingram is questionable for this game, and they have about 4 players in their secondary that are also questionable. All look like they're going to play, but there could be some open spaces there in the secondary for Cam Newton and those Patriots to take advantage of. The Patriots have not looked good this year, but they get to play the Jets twice, and one of the times was last week. They won 30-27. Cam Newton really had to pull one out of his butt to win that game. They were down in the game, but he ended up managing the comeback and kicking a field goal at the end to win 30-27. Now, Patriots injuries, I don't have 45 minutes to tell you all about that. There's 18 people that are questionable and one person out. But that was the same as last week, and the Patriots still managed to find the end zone multiple times. So Cam Newton is working with his feet. He had a 275-yard passing. The team had a great rushing from Burkhead and White and company. They had 150 yards rushing last week against the Jets. And I know what you're saying. It's the Jets, but the Ravens' defense is not the Ravens' defense of 10 years ago. The Ravens' defense has holes. We've seen it. The Steelers took advantage of it. Now, Lamar Jackson's coming off a decent game. They've got their running game going. Lamar is running a little bit more since the Pittsburgh game that they lost a couple of weeks back. He ran for 60 last week. The Patriots defense is wide open. So Lamar, I'm gonna go bold here. He's probably gonna have over 100 yards rushing. But because of the lack of defense in this game and the ability to have a veteran quarterback like Cam Newton and a very good quarterback like Lamar Jackson, we like the over. The bookmakers made this very low, and I understand for a variety of reasons why it's low. It's at 43.5. But a 24-21 game hits the over, and Lamar Jackson is going to put up 30 points at least against the Patriots defense. If the Jets can put up almost 30 points, Lamar Jackson is going to have a field day. And on the other hand, Cam Newton knows how to score against anybody. So we like the Ravens and the Patriots. Sunday Night Football, our number one bet of the week, over 43.5. So that wraps us up for week number 10 at Grandstand Bettors. Just a quick recap. Play number 5 was the Cleveland Browns plus 3.5. Play number 4 was the Philadelphia Eagles minus 3. Our third best play of the week was the Chargers plus 1. Our second best play, Seahawks plus 2. And our number 1 play of the week, Sunday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens, New England Patriots, over 43.5. As always, get those chips, get the nachos, make the good stuff for Sunday, sit down, have a drink, enjoy football,